Unique meeting. How you doing, Monty? Unique meeting here. This meeting will be sent out to college coaches, current college umpires, future college umpires. And if you're joining just because you're a fan of college baseball, you want to learn the college rules, this is for you as well. So this will be on our YouTube channel, and it'll be posted on Arbiter Sports under Listen Forums. Locally, we have on-field training next Thursday, next Friday, 4:30 to 6 out in Plattsmouth. I will put that on Arbiter Sports for our local PSOA umpires. Returning umpires, we're going to get you on the field, get you seeing pitches. Brand new umpires, depending on what you're looking for, we'll get you some reps on the field, but a lot of times it'll be an observation on field training. They're going to scrimmage for an hour, and then we'll do some drills after the scrimmage. Probably next Thursday and Friday down in Plattsmouth, Nebraska. All right. College baseball. It's a big thing this year in college baseball is change. We've been going for 3 weeks now. Division I started last weekend, and there was some ripple effect of the new rule last weekend. And as the season goes, as we get into the conference tournament, as we get into the postseason tournament, we'll see how much others have changed. I will say this as an umpire, there is no choice. We have to hammer these rules early, be consistent with them, and do them all year long. So it's not going to be one of those things, all right, we're going to call it tight non-conference, and when conference comes, we're going to stop calling it. That's not going to be an option. That's not going to be a choice for us. So we need to change the behavior now. And as we said earlier, these are routines we're changing that coaches have been doing for 30 plus years, that players have been doing since they were 8 and under. All right. They have to change with the game of baseball. First slide here, NAIA registration. So if you have a varsity game for any NAIA conference, Heart of America, KCAC, GPAC, you should be done with this registration. If you're not, when I post this PowerPoint, click on NAIA registration, and it takes you right to RefQuest. Those of you who are not aware, NAIA, NCAA, they have RefQuest for an assigning platform and education platform. We'll see the education side here soon. And then we still in the GPAC use Arbiter Sports. So umpires, yes, I know it's a pain in the butt. You have to update RefQuest and you have to update Arbiter Sports. So if you are a college umpire, varsity, you're going to have to manage both platforms. If you're only working for the GPAC, you're only having to update Arbiter Sports. Okay, so a little tidbit there. I am going to show JV games. Part of the reason I do invite all umpires to a meeting like this, there are opportunities to work college baseball at the JV level. If you're only looking JV baseball, you do not have to register NAIA. All right. But we want to give you opportunity and access to those JV games. All right. People always ask, what's the college uniform? All right. So you could do CBUA hat, all black hat. There are a couple GPAC hats out there. You can't buy GPAC hats anywhere. But if you have 2 people who've been in the GPAC for 5 or more years, they have them. NAIA hats. So you could go to Honig's, Umpire, Purchase Officials. You could buy an NAIA hat. On the next slide, I'll show you sort of different shirt styles. But I will say this, I am not in the equipment business at all. So I don't care what supplier you use. The one connection partnership I do have is with Purchase Officials. So if you go to purchaseofficials.com, you could use our discount code PSOA23. All right, and I believe it's a 10% discount, and depending on where you live, free shipping and no taxes. You know, for our local group, it's always good for me to make the order because there's no taxes on where I live. Whereas different zip codes, it's different stories.
What's the discount code on PSOA?
23. All right, so I would have to say 90, 95% of college umpires wear black. They wear a black thermal. They wear black long sleeves. They wear black, gray panel. They wear black, white piping. They wear all black. All right, so definitely buy a black shirt if you're looking to work college umpire. Some people wear the Carolina blue with the white piping. The higher you go up, the more shirts you're going to have to buy. Just a heads up. Okay, if you're just starting at the NAIA level, JUCO level, it's that black shirt. I would recommend getting the black shirt with the white piping and the black shirt with the gray panel. Most college umpires have those two. And then definitely living in Nebraska, North Dakota, South Dakota, Wyoming, thermal jackets. They are playing. And they will play in cold, windy weather. All right, so continuing with the change, I'm going to go into Arbiter Sports here. Keep availability updated in Arbiter Sports. I still don't think people know how to update the blocks, so we're going to go through it one more time. NAIA playoffs. So right now, Bellevue is ranked pretty high preseason. I think they won both games yesterday against Briarcliff. They play today at noon. Whoever hosts opening round, and I know Bellevue will go for it, that assigner does get to assign that opening round. So if they are hosting, I will assign Bellevue. You have to be registered with NAIA. You have to complete and pass the test to be eligible for postseason. I know GPAC conference, our conference tournament, you have to be NAIA registered. You have to have passed the test. Curtis, did you take the NAIA test already? I was going to say, because I can't even see if it's open. Is it still open or is it closed for everybody?
There was a date on it.
There was a date. All right.
Sean, I'm pretty sure it's closed, Sean.
All right. I appreciate it. So if you did not do the NAIA registration, you can still work NAIA baseball. It's just you can't work postseason. All right. So it is closed there. World Series, that is still open as well. If you are looking to do a World Series, let me know because later on, they said the beginning of April, maybe even sooner, they're going to contact me. Hey, these are the ones that applied for the GPAC and tell me about your umpires. So it's always good that I know if you apply for the World Series so I could kind of lie and start making up stories before I get that call. I'm kidding. All right. Let's see here. Admit. People always ask about pay. All right. So GPAC schools pay via Arbiter, $260 for a doubleheader, $150 for single game. Presentation is $300, and then Bellevue and Dakota State pay via check. Actually, if you do the paperwork, Dakota State will do it electronically. If you don't know where Dakota State is, Madison, South Dakota. And then if you are in need, I don't think anybody here has any questions on Arbiter pay. If you have Arbiter pay for any group, it's all linked. All right, so now let's go to Arbiter Sports blocks. Now I'm going to go in as an official GPAC. Official. All right, I know this sounds crazy. But if tomorrow you are open, you wake up and you know you're going to have to work till 8 o'clock tomorrow night now. Go into blocks. Go block all day. And then tomorrow's what date? The 27th. All right, click the 27th. Because I'm not going to say I'm going to get a call tomorrow morning. They want to play college baseball. But it has happened before. Okay, so yes, it's a pain in the butt. I don't expect you guys to do it every single day. But like if I were to be open, my next open date right now is March. All right, March 1st, Wednesday, March 1st. All right, let's say I get a basketball game March 1st on another platform. The very next thing I'm going to do after accepting that game is to come into Arbiter Sports and block Arbiter Sports. All right, so a lot of times, just to make sure people know, when we say block arbiter sports, you are blocking as in saying you cannot umpire. You are not available to umpire. So I just click that date and now it's red. All right, sweet. I didn't get an assignment for that day. I can clear that block. And now I'm open all day. People have a full-time job, right? All right, so if you have a full-time job, you know you can't get off, or you know you don't want to use vacation. You could block part of day. You could go 8 o'clock to 5 o'clock, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, from 2/26 to end of the college baseball season. I'm not going to click it, but with one click of apply, it does every single day, Monday through Friday. The last thing I always tell umpires is, if you think you cannot work, if you think you cannot work, block the day, block it. And then all of a sudden now you can and want to work, unblock that day. Because people know you've become unblocked, or a game got canceled, so now you became available, and all of a sudden I called you, texted you within like 5 minutes. You're like, how the heck did you know I was available? Because the signers are in here all day long. All right, it's not just myself. College baseball especially, there's so much fluidness with weather. We're always in here. So again, if I could ask you just 5 minutes every morning, 5 minutes beginning of the week, let us know when you're able to umpire. It helps us out tremendously. Any questions on blocks? Okay. Because I was called passive aggressive yesterday because I keep on saying, please update blocks. So I will be aggressive and say, update blocks. All right, update blocks. Go for it. So college, our varsity schedule is completely assigned. JV, after this meeting today, I'm going to send out an email. All right, thanks for coming to the meeting today. Here are the JV games. You send me JV games and you want to work May 30th, you're going to get put on JV games May 30th. College, by far, it's the best available umpires I want on games, and I sign the whole entire season out as much as I can. The hard thing about college, this hasn't happened before. A whole weekend of GPAC games got moved to Topeka. So now I have to change every single game in the GPAC and move to Topeka and figure out, all right, what umpires, one, are willing to travel, and then two, who lives close that wants to stay and work a whole conference weekend. So, and yes, I get the call, I work right away from the coach's standpoint. All right, now back to the PowerPoint. NAIA rule modifications. There is no change here for NAIA rule modifications. Those of you who have been working NAIA baseball, the appendix, I think it's Appendix F, it has not changed. All right, but just to go over, in NAIA, where they use all NCAA rules except these exceptions, there is a re-entry for starters. Okay, so number 5 hole plays shortstop, leaves the game, that player can come back into the game in the number 5 spot. Who cares where they play defensively? It's all about the batting order. Okay, so they can re-enter in NAIA baseball. They could courtesy run for the pitcher or the pitcher DH. So if that DH gets on base, you can't courtesy run for the DH. It's courtesy runner for the pitcher, who is also listed as a DH. And then courtesy runner for the catcher as well. Courtesy runner cannot be removed from the bases to be a pinch hitter. So let's say that's a real good bunter, also very good base stealer, and all of a sudden they stole second base. Now the coach wants that same player to bunt that runner over to third base. Can't do that. All right, so once they're on the bases, they could score, they could be put out. Now they could pinch hit, but they can't leave the bases to come pinch hit. Courtesy runner must be eligible substitute and not had played in the game previously. God forbid you have a huge fight. The team only has 9 players left or 10 players, and the 10th player was the starting pitcher who left the game. Okay. You have to have an eligible substitute. No eligible substitutes. They have to run for themselves. And then courtesy runner can only run for one position in an inning. So they're not locked in that they could only run for the pitcher all game long. It's just in the first inning, they can only run for the pitcher. Third inning, now they can run for the catcher. They're not locked into that one spot. Okay. Ejections. Head coaches have to serve one game ejection in NAIA baseball. NCAA baseball head coaches do not. In NAIA baseball, head coaches, everybody has to serve a one game suspension. Okay, so that's another NAIA modification. And again, if you click on that tab, you're going to get a document and you can print it off and it's PDF. All right, now the new rules. Illegal bat. So the main thing with the illegal bats, they have stickers. If the sticker falls off, sorry, it's an illegal bat. All right, so that is the rule change. All right, so beginning of the series, they have a sticker on the bat. If the sticker falls off and they don't put a new sticker on the next day, and the other team appeals, hey, this is an illegal bat, does not have a sticker. All right, if it's before the first pitch, batter's out. And when we say remove the bat, we don't say remove the bat, have that batter take it back to the dugout. You remove the bat and give it to the site administrator or get it up in the press box. You remove that bat from the field of play. So that bat does not go back to the dugout. It is gone. If a bat breaks, the cap comes off during play. All right, we have no penalty yet. Again, what we want to do as umpires, if we can, get that bat out of the field of play. Do not let them bring that bat back to the dugout. Because if the cap comes off the bat and that now bat comes back to the plate with the cap back on, that's an illegal bat. Everybody saw the cap come off the bat. So prevent that situation, remove the bat from the field of play, get it to the press box, send it to the bat graveyard somewhere. Do not let it go to that team's dugout. All right. Nice, funny picture. Coach is doing a really good job of staying out of the dirt circle this year. All right.
Sean.
Yes.
So we actually had an illegal bat yesterday in our games.
Awesome.
I didn't notice, and I don't think it was broken when the ball was put in play, but then there was a rattle after the ball was put in play. We deemed it that the bat was legal at the time the ball was put in play and then was unlegal after contact. So we took the bat out, runner was safe.
Perfect. Did you remove the bat then?
We did. Catcher had a question because he said he noticed the rattle during the at bat before it was put in play, but didn't say anything until after. If a player notices a rattle, they have the ability to appeal that the bat is legal, correct?
Correct. Absolutely.
Okay.
And coaches listening to this, tell your players, if you have a bat that's rattling in the dugout, just remove it. Avoid that situation. Because if it is rattling and we swing and it's rattling and then they appeal that, hey, that bat is altered because of the rattle, that batter's out. So coaches, players, if your bat's rattling, don't even bring it out to the plate. Leave it in the dugout at that point. And don't forget your first pitch is at 11 o'clock today, guys.
Yep, we're getting there.
Go. All right. New coaches on the field. So this actually started with COVID. It's not a COVID rule anymore. If we found out that because of COVID, it created time, space, and distance from coaches and umpires, so it works. All right. So coach on the field. If a coach, head coach, wants to come on the field to question a call, and we're not talking judgment call. We're not talking ball strike. We're not talking check swing. We're not talking balk. All right, we're talking, they want an explanation of a call. Number one, they cannot argue. Okay, so what they found out, how to prevent coaches from arguing, if it's a play at home plate, they stay outside the dirt circle. So the umpire at home plate will call time when the play is over. The coach is going to stop at the dirt circle. When the coach stops at the dirt circle, home plate umpire, all right, coach, what's your question? Because they're not allowed to argue a safe out call at home plate, but they could ask questions. They could come out and ask questions. They just have to stay outside the dirt circle. All right, because what we found is when the coach stops at the dirt circle, we stay near home plate, and that coach has that aggressive body language. Umpires, you say, hey, coach, I will talk to you, but you got to be ready to talk. Now, when that coach is ready to talk, now we approach the coach. All right, so what that did, it stopped umpire coach being aggressive towards each other. That's why that rule is what it is. So now let's say it's a base umpire, play at first base, catch, no catch in the outfield. Now the coach goes to the 45-foot line and stays in foul territory. Once that coach stops at the fair foul line, whether it be first base or third base, then that base umpire will approach the coach. All right, so that's the rule. So it's not a COVID rule anymore. It's a sportsmanship move that they put in the rule book to give the coach time to relax, stop, and the umpire to make sure the coach is approachable and is ready to have a conversation. Okay, but coaches can ask questions. They still can't argue judgment calls, but they could come out and ask questions on the judgment calls.
What if they don't?
What if they don't what? Well, if they don't stop, you give them the stop sign, coach. If you continue coming out to the field to play, you're at risk of ejecting yourself. But did the coaches come out at all? Mike, Brandon?
Yeah.
Did they stop at the foul line?
They're pretty good ones.
Yeah. Coaches actually like it. It does. It calms them down as well. So, all right. Foul tip. This is a very specific rule to NCAA baseball. Okay. Every other level of baseball has to go sharp and direct to the glove or hand. NCAA baseball, a foul tip that goes sharp and direct and off of any part of the catcher's body. Shin guard, chest protector, mask. If it goes up in the air, that catcher catches it, it's a caught strike. If it's strike three, it's caught strike three. If somebody is stealing, the ball remains live and in play. All right, so that is any part of the catcher. It's not sharp and direct to the glove or hand. Any part of the catcher. There's one play out there from 2 years ago where it went off the catcher on a drop third strike, and the first baseman actually came in and caught it. All right, foul ball. It has to be the catcher who catches the foul tip. Okay, so crazy play, but wanted to cover that one. Celebratory props. All right, so you have Oklahoma State with their horse head, and you have Tennessee with a nice big jacket. All right, they can use celebratory props. They have to be used in the dugout. No celebratory props in college baseball this year can leave the dugout. I won't show the video, but what has happened is people are like, oh, this is fun. Like, you're taking away fun out of the game. But it's not fun to the other team. And so when the other team gets really upset and frustrated and they think they're being shown up by the opponent, guess what the team who's not having fun does? All right, retaliates. We'll just use that word, retaliates. All right, so teams can use props. They just can't use it on the field. All right, so what do we do as umpires? The first time a prop is brought out onto the field, and by the way, they can only go to the warning track anyways. So they can't meet at home plate and do all that fun stuff. Well, once a prop is brought out, when that celebration is done, you give a team warning. All right, we have an unsportsmanlike conduct celebratory prop warning for the whole entire team. You gotta let the coach know. You gotta leave the hat, you gotta leave the chain, whatever they're using in the dugout. The next time that prop comes out of the dugout, whoever is holding that prop is who is ejected. All right, so the person who hit the home run and the chain is put on that batter is not ejected. It's the player who brought out the prop. So base umpires, plate umpires, if there's a warning, we need to know who brings that prop out if they bring that prop out again. Okay, so number one, coaches, umpires, they can still have fun. It's just got to be in their dugout and not at the expense of the opposing team. First time warning, second time the player who brings a prop out is ejected. Question.
So first time we haven't given a warning yet. You suggest don't shut it down when it happens, let it play out,
Yep.
and then after the fact, we'll have the conversation and record it.
Yeah, so here's a reason why you want to wait. I'm not gonna say make a spectacle about it, but you want to make sure the other team knows you're doing something about it. Where if you do it right away, warn them, now the other team's like, oh, you're just gonna let them do whatever they want to do. They probably missed that warning. So let it all happen. All right, call time, give the team warning. So now that other team knows, all right, the umpire gave them consequence. That's why you want to wait there.
Is that warning only subject to that? So like,
Yep.
say you give a warning, it doesn't apply to the other team.
Correct.
So if they bring something out after you had already warned the other team, that's still a warning.
Correct. Yep. So it's only a team warning for that team.
Had this yesterday. W player brought a big flask on the field.
Of what?
He got excited here. Brought out a prop onto the field.
It was a huge flask,
Yep.
water, and it said water jug. I'm like,
No.
that's-
Yeah. So we will, because it's funny when we were in our meetings for NCAA as an umpire, you got to think, all right, what are players and teams going to do to circumvent the rule, right? If it's water, because they do the water spray thing, that's part of college baseball. I will allow a water bottle on a warning track. That is not a prop. That is what they use in baseball all the time. Okay, if they want to hand a baseball bat to the batter, it's got to be a legal baseball bat. But a flask is definitely not going to be supported by NAIA or NCAA administration. Was that our local team or was that?
that was about-
Okay, I will have a chat with that school.
They didn't argue it.
But you did warn them? Good. Yes.
If you give that warning to the celebrating team, you go make a point of communicating that to the opposite team so that they know you've given that warning.
You can. I mean, I wouldn't go out of my way. I mean, the way I'm gonna warn it, they should know that I gave the warning. And did the other team have a prop?
No, Brian Smith hit one and their social media guy with the phone came out, but didn't leave the vicinity of the dugout.
Perfect.
I didn't do anything.
Cool.
The only thing, and too bad, it might be hard to see if you're not paying attention.
I will say this, college baseball, ball strike, fair foul, safe out. You're expected to know that. You're expected to be able to do that. And the higher level you work, it's actually easier to do that. It is very, very, very difficult what Brandon just said there. You have to be on your toes, dead ball all the time. In between pitches, and good transition into this unsportsmanlike conduct. There is so much game management issues you have to deal with, and you have to pick and choose when you deal with them, and then you got to pick and choose how to deal with them. Sometimes it's a strong, firm stop. Sometimes it's, all right, guys, we're not doing that today. It's nice and soft. And it's based on the environment, based on the game, based on previous experience with the teams, based on coaches' personality, all that goes into play. So with that being said, unsportsmanlike conduct, yes, sir. No noisemakers. Yep. Because when we get into the pitch clock action, and I know I'm being recorded, but This is really why the pitch clock action is in play, and we'll get into examples. But game personnel should not use language that will in any manner refer to or reflect negatively upon opposing players, coaches, umpires, or spectators. So players can't be talking to spectators. Yeah, we've been in situations where later in the season, spectators show up because it's warm outside. And if a spectator is getting some type of reaction from those players, let's protect those players and get side administration to shut those fans down. We could do that. And we got to remind the players, hey, keep it on the game. Let us know what they're saying so that way we could report it. We had a situation, fans were out in right field. And the right field fans were saying some pretty derogatory things to the player, right? And we got to tell the players, if you see that right fielder, to look back and, all right, umpires, you got to be aware of that. What's going on out there? Ask that right fielder, what are they saying? And then have that side administrator to remove the fans or move them somewhere else on the field. But in any manner, words, gestures, comments, the big one this year is bat flips towards or near the opposing team. All right. Penalty, umpire shall warn the offending individual and the coach. So the first one is warning. Okay. Second action, player is ejected. Third action, the coach is ejected with the next player. All right. So I want to be very, very clear here. Matt Krause is the player who did it. Not only am I warning Matt Krause, that warning, whole entire team. So it's not Matt gets a warning. It's not McHugh gets a warning. It's not Andrew gets a warning. The whole team gets a warning on the first one. And so now we're talking about, all right, when do I lay down, quote unquote, the hammer? If it's top of the first inning, I'm probably not going to come out guns blazing and say, that's it, all you guys are warned. Hey, guys, we're not doing that today, okay? Keep it on your own team. We're good. And I'll probably have a short conversation with the head coach. Say, coach, it's not a warning, but just remind your players, just keep it on your own team today. All right, because there's two things. Now, this is the teaching point. There's two things that I'm going to give. When is it that they are saying comments, actions that distract the opposing team? I'm looking at the opposing team's reaction. So if the opposing team, quote unquote, is not reacting, but I hear it, I'm feeling it, they're trying to get them to react. Right? I'm not going to use my warning yet. I'm going to use my unofficial, informal coach. We got to keep it on your own team. And I might even tell the coach, you got to understand, once they do react, it's going to be shut down. So that's tip number one. The other team's reaction to those comments, gestures, and behaviors. The second thing is that gut feeling I have. All right, so I am going to use some of the, all right, this just doesn't seem right. This isn't normal. Again, if I don't have a reaction, but I have that gut feeling like this is going down the wrong path, I'm going to do the informal warning. If the informal warning doesn't work, now I'm going to say, hey, coach, all right, number 27 said this. This is your team warning for bench jockeying. Okay. Brandon brought it up earlier. It's very, very difficult. 2-umpire system. Home run ball. Home plate umpires. What does everybody do as a home plate umpire when a ball is hit 375 feet? We're watching the ball. We have to train ourselves. We have to watch the batter. We have to watch the batter. Okay. It's going to take good 4 or 5 seconds for that ball to leave the yard. It's going to take a half second for that bat to be tossed to the opposing team's dugout. Okay, so if you're getting preseason reps somewhere, somehow, some way, whether it's cage work or down in Plattsmouth next Thursday and Friday, when that batter hits that ball in play, peek at that batter. What's that batter doing? Because it's that half second look at the batter. All right, that batter's going to first base. Awesome. Now let's find the baseball again. I know that's going to be a huge difference for me next weekend is I have to look at that batter first. What are they doing with that bat? Because they want the littlest bat toss towards the opponent's dugout that causes a reaction to have a warning. Okay, so they're literally, I think it was Mississippi State last year. It was a home run ball, and they literally, instead of just dropping the bat straight down, like it was not in the air, it was not thrown out, it was almost like dropped towards the opponent's dugout. And the opponent's dugout went absolutely nuts. And then we had beanballs. Okay, so any throwing of the bat towards the opponent's dugout that causes a reaction, give the team warning. The first one's a warning. Now, do you have to give a warning for egregious? No, because there's another video out there. Batter hits a home run, tosses that bat high into the air. As he's running by the first base dugout, says some cool words. As he's going around second base, says some cool words to the shortstop and second baseman. And as he goes around third base, now he's saying some positive, cool words to his own team. So once he touched home plate, guess what the umpire did? He ejected him. All right, so you don't need a warning for egregious. All right, but those small little bat throws, small little bat flips, that causes a reaction. You have the warning to give. You have the warning to give. Go for it.
Isn't there a risk of just giving way too much power to the opposing team to react to anything?
Good. Me as an umpire, that's awesome because it takes all judgment out of me.
I just see a situation where they react to something that in no way, shape, or form was meant to show them on at all, just so they get the.
You just move to
warning
the next
out.
level and
Yep.
we're not gonna do that. Awesome.
Yeah, I know. I'm not going to get sidetracked, but football, we do the same exact thing. It's a foul if there's a defensive reaction. It's not a foul if there's not a defensive reaction. And as long as both coaches knows what the threshold is, so be it. Don't toss the bat. Don't say worm burner. Don't say 5 in a row. Throw a 6. Then you don't even have to worry about a reaction. So go ahead, Eric.
Yeah, so I was actually gonna ask about that, because I think they can hear one kind of stuff, but, you know, stuff like that's not quite directly directed at the pitcher. Give those birds a helmet, worm burner, things like that, like, though sometimes they can be funny, like,
Those are definitely directed to the opponent because their player is not pitching. So any comment, again, these rules, they're taking the judgment out of this. I love them because as an umpire, I don't have to judge. The players are telling me the judgment, how they're reacting. And then I just base now, hey, here's the rule. We have comments clearly intended towards the opponent, and now we have the opponent reacting. Here's your warning. Please
and
stop.
say you have like 3 teachers, and a kid says, you know, not something along the lines of like, oh, you can't throw it down the middle,
Mhm.
you're good, whatever, something like that. That's more. I don't know.
That's
Like he's almost saying something to his batter, but.
no, that is a comment directed to the opponent. He, not we. Yeah, them, they. Yeah, no, anything directed towards the opponent, indirectly or directly. It has to be clearly directed to their own team. All right, this is a rule change, but I'm willing to bet in this room, if you work a bunch of college baseball, you might use it once all year long. All right, so as I say this, the force play slide rule has not changed. All right, if it is a ground ball and the fielder misplays it and the shortstop isn't able to get their right foot, but they're going to get their left foot on the bag instead because it's a little errant throw, a little errant toss, that runner still legally has to slide buttocks on the ground straight to and through to avoid interference. That part of the rule has not changed. Here's the part of the rule that did change. Let's say it's an unbelievable acrobatic play. All right, we have a ground ball up the middle. That runner at first base is rounding, like we all know when they're running straight to a base versus they're going to try to get to third base. So that runner now has started to round second base because he's going to try to get to third base. Now, all of a sudden, the shortstop makes an unbelievable play and flips it out of his glove behind his back. And that second baseman is there to get that force out. And now that runner who is at first base, instead of sliding straight to and through, is now sliding on an angle towards left center field because he was already rounding third base. We're not going to call that forced play slide rule illegal slide. Because why was he put into that position? He was trying to go to third base. He was already getting to the next play, so to speak. He wasn't thinking about taking out that fielder. So it's such an unusual play that the runner was never, ever thinking about sliding into second base. And the only reason he is sliding now is so he could stay on second base without overrunning. So I don't want to spend too much time on this rule. If it's a ground ball, errant throw, again, a misplay of a ground ball, they still have to legally slide into second base. And by the defense does not allow that offense to slide whichever way they want.
Unless they're peeling away.
Yeah, unless they could always peel away. They could always slide early. They could always run out to right field. So I'm not going to get too deep into this play. It's for the unbelievable plays. All right. All right. Runner new rules. If a runner is declared out for interference with the fielder who is attempting to field a foul batted ball. So here we go, pop up. First baseman runs into the runner on first base. Boom, that's interference. The ball drops foul, and there's no doubt in your mind that that first baseman could have caught that ball. All right, that runner is out for interference. If that's the third out of the inning, that current batter is going to be the first batter to start the next inning. All right. So even if that ball is caught, all right. So now technically we have 4 outs, right? We have interference. That's the third out. Inning's over. Now the ball is caught in foul territory, 4th out. But that third out happened already. So we got to make sure to remind the coaches, all right, number 24 was up to bat. Yes, the first baseman still caught the foul ball, but I called interference on R1. R1 was the third out of the inning. 24 is going to start the next at bat in the next inning. Now, if there's 1 out or no outs, sweet, R1's out. What happens on interference? On a batted ball, what happens on interference? What are we doing as an umpire? Time. That's interference out on a batted ball. Time. All right, so now interference, time, out. Now we just have a foul ball. So you add a strike to the count, and we continue the at-bat. Even if they caught it. Because the interference, what does that interference do with the ball? Dead ball. So you can't get a double play on that.
Why is the pitch?
Because it's a foul ball. Because the ball was live and the pitch ball hit that bat prior to interference. So you still have the foul ball that took place. Yep. And then number 2, note 2. And by the way, this should be every level of baseball. It's just very specific now in the rule book for NCAA baseball. If I am sliding into the base and there is no doubt in your mind as an umpire, the only reason that foot came off the base, that leg came off the base, is because that fielder pushed that hand or foot off the base. Time, safe. All right. The defense can't push a foot or hand off the base. Now, if the slider's momentum and there's like, no, that hand probably would have gone off had that tag not even been applied. Momentum can still take the runner off. Defender's tag cannot push and remove that hand. And I know I said time right away. Don't call time right away on that. Let it play out. Because if there is other plays could still happen. All right, so that umpire mechanic right there, that's on the slide, you could go safe, pushed off the bag. It's very, very similar to safe fielder off the bag. And it's the same idea. It was the fielder who forced the player off the bag. So that they said that is an improved mechanic to explain that safe call. Any questions on this one? Again, the ball is live, remains live. You just want to give that safe boom off the bag. Now, what does the runner still have to do now? They have to immediately return back to that, and they're not going to be able to get up, walk around, and be like, "Aha, you can't get me now." All right. Again, think about what players might do to circumvent the rule. I mean, they still have to get back on the bag. Okay. Pitcher going to the mouth. The new one is while in the dirt circle for college baseball. Before they had to be near the pitcher's plate. So if they're in the dirt circle and they go to their lips, they go to their tongue, they go immediately to the baseball. So they are not engaged with the rubber. That's a whole different one. Okay, so if they go to their mouth, go to the ball, in the dirt circle, call time, remove that baseball, replace that baseball. Warning per pitcher. This is a per pitcher warning, not team, per pitcher warning. The second time, ball, B-A-L-L. All right, the best way I could always explain this, when a pitcher goes to the mouth of the ball, who gains an advantage? Pitcher over who? The hitter. So the hitter gets the reward of a ball. That's why you don't want to call a balk. They're not gaining an advantage on the runner. They're gaining an advantage on the hitter. Again, the rule changes dirt circle this year. It was always illegal, but now it's the dirt circle.
So they're outside of the dirt circle.
They can, but they have to wipe off first. But it's
The ball will be avoided. In the right?
so.
And there's no subsequent ejection, it's just a warning.
Yep. The only time you're going to eject is if they spit on the ball, like exasperate. That's the word. If they exasperate on the ball, then you're defacing the baseball. Now you're ejected. But if it's a lick,
That's
it's
a no warning situation.
yeah, no warning.
Just keep calling balls.
Yeah. Yeah, spitting, nail filing, Vaseline on the baseball, no warning, ejection. All right.
That guy can't break the habit. I'm just calling 7, 8, 9 balls.
Yeah. Hopefully they break it. All right, 20-second action clock. I'm going to play the video first. And then after we play the video, we're going to have some discussion. And then Mike and Brandon Arntz are hopefully on the field right now, so they're going to be out. And those of you in RefQuest, people are like, where the heck do you find all these videos? It is collaboration. So if you go to the main NAIA baseball, you're not going to see any video on the main NAIA baseball. You have to go to the RefQuest collaboration video library. And this is where all the video is up. And I better switch the share.
Sean, do you know who Justin Gray associated with?
Yeah, NAIA. So he is in charge of all sports officials for NAIA. All, like every single sport. All right, so now we're in the right spot here. Those at home, you guys see the video, correct?
Yes.
I'm gonna assume.
Yes.
All right, thank you. All right.
Yep.
Can you hear the video?
Reviewing the video, should have a better understanding. So look, from the beginning, the pitcher is required to get the point of motion. The motion is delivered to the pitcher. Consent. The expiration is 20 seconds.
All right, so that was the first question that came up. If they still have a reset left and they don't deliver a pitch within 20 seconds, I, as an umpire, can I just use the reset for them? No. You cannot use a reset for them. Clock action enforcement, right? They still have that reset left, but the only players that could initiate the reset is the defense. Okay, so if they have the reset left, they don't pitch it within 20 seconds, boom, enforce it.
The pitcher makes a pickoff attempt. The clock stops and resets. The clock starts when the pitcher possesses the ball in the dirt circle and the catcher is in the catcher's box. With runners on base, the pitcher flicks off the rubber in an attempt to feint a pickoff attempt at second base. Here, the catcher leaves the catcher's box to give defensive signals. Clock will stop, reset, start again. The umpire on the field.
All right, so you guys see this mechanic? That's the mechanic. That's the reset mechanic. So umpires, this could be confusing, right? How many umpires give 1 out, 2 outs? You gotta get rid of that. All right. Reset mechanic is 1 finger, both sides, letting your partners know.
And signals the 1 reset per at-bat. Pitcher may also step off the rubber to get a new sign as well. In both cases, the clock shall reset and start again immediately. This action is only allowed once per at-bat. The umpire calls time for a legitimate reason, and in this situation, the safety of the batter and the judgment of the umpire was in question. This is not to be confused with a quick pitch situation. As in this example, the batter had 1 foot out of the batter's box and was just beginning to step into the box. The pitcher began his motion.
All right, so what they're saying here, the batter gets 10 seconds. All right, they have to be ready to bat within 10 seconds. So if that pitcher is looking to pitch the ball when there's 12 seconds left, time. Okay, we have to give that batter time to get set. This is not a reset. This is the umpire stop the game. I, as the umpire, said, no. I wasn't ready. The batter wasn't ready. Go for it.
Without visible pitch clocks on the field, that 10 seconds split, I mean, because isn't it, our base umpire will have the clock.
Correct.
So is there a signal communicate
There is not.
between, 10 seconds left or?
There is no signal to communicate whatsoever. All right, so this is what most baseball umpires have bought. So when you flip it up, it's the 20-second action clock, and it buzzes at 10. So that's when the batter has to be ready. So what you are signaling, your signal is when it buzzes and that batter's not ready, boom, time, strike, play, which we'll get into here real quick. Okay. Then if you have a stopwatch, yeah, I mean, I don't recommend a stopwatch, but you just got to hold it where you could see it, where you could glance down and not miss balk or a reset. Okay. But Ref Smart, and you could get this again, any website out there. Yeah. So if you have a watch, boom, start it and it goes beep, beep, beep. Yeah. But then you got the 10-second, then you got the 20-second. So that could be difficult. All right, go back to.
Umpire sided on safety situation. The pitcher steps off and does nothing. It's immediately pitcher remains in possession. Only 1 reset is.
All right, so did you see how quick that was there? All right, so the comment that was said to me after the second week of baseball is, Sean, these umpires are taking so much time on this reset. It's actually making the game slower. I said, well, the umpires aren't doing their job. Okay, because now we don't have new signal. We just have the pitcher stepping off. We got our 1 reset. Pitcher still has the ball in the dirt. How quick did that clock start over? I'm going to go back here. All right.
Does nothing. Clock would stop and restart immediately.
Started.
Possession of the ball on the mound. Remember, only 1 reset is allowed. The catcher asks for time and it is granted by the play umpire. Remember, a defensive player such as the catcher asking for time without taking a sharp defensive conference can constitute a reset.
And now since the team call time, we call time, by rule, when do we put it back in play? Yeah, pitcher on the rubber, coaches in the box, da, 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 da. So that's when we're gonna start. We don't start the 20 right away on that one. Because the defense called time. Boom, time, reset. All right, my 5 requirements are met, play. That's different than the pitcher just stepping off. The pitcher just stepping off, reset, time was never called. We're continuing baseball. That 20 seconds starts immediately.
Does a feint constitute an attempt?
No,
That's.
and we'll get into that.
Because they can't just.
Regardless of a reset if an exercise or not. The pitcher or the defensive team allows the clock to expire. Umpires will always enforce the violation and a ball to count. The clock starts when the pitcher possesses the ball in the dirt circle and the catcher is in the catcher's box. Just the back of the box and to the pitcher. Pitcher is working fast.
All right, so I will tell you this. This is, again, we'll get into it, but this is a huge reason I love this rule. Batters can't call time. Pitchers can't freeze runners or batters. Players are forced to play baseball consistently.
You think that's part of the intent?
Oh, 100%.
Keeping the game rolling?
100%. It takes all gamesmanship away when players were gonna do stuff to each other. Because how many times have you had an umpire? One time you gave this batter timeout, then the next half inning you didn't give this team's batter timeout. You don't have to worry about that anymore as an umpire. You pitch, you hit, let's go. Yeah, so that batter calling time, there's only 3 times I'm gonna call time for the batter. Wind, dust, tornadoes coming into their face. All right, very hot, or we literally have like the Cleveland Indians, bunch of fleas and gnats around, and I think a bug got into their eye or sweat got into their eye where they cannot see. All right, and then the 3rd time is when that pitcher's trying to deliver too fast and that batter's not ready to bat, and we're not at 10 seconds yet. But that's me calling time for the batter. That's not the batter requesting time. Batter cannot request time. Okay, that's gone. Cannot request time. Right? So that's a huge one.
And begins his motion to deliver the pitch before the batter is completely alert to the pitcher. Unlike the earlier example, this is not a safety issue as the batter had his head up, but wasn't completely alert to the pitcher. This is a quick pitch violation. 2 examples.
So Eric, here's your.
Pitcher steps off, beating from.
All right. So that was, you missed the first one. The first one, he got an out. So there's no violation. The second one, there was no throw and the runner was safe. We have a violation. All right.
So even if he gets halfway there, then goes to the first base.
It's got to be a legitimate pickoff. Legitimate pickoff.
What I'm saying is there was a delay from him stepping off. He ran about 15 feet and then threw the ball.
Was it a legitimate pickoff?
know, I'm just saying like.
Or did he throw the ball when the runner was already on the base?
No. Yeah. Like.
That's, you need, so the word is legitimate pickoff throw. They can't just throw like, oh, shoot, he's on the base, I still gotta throw it. No, that's a violation.
It's interesting because they make a point in this example of him taking 4 or 5 steps and lobbing it over there and saying, that's cool, we'll get the throw. Right? They make a point of that.
Yep, we'll keep watching.
You're saying.
Just take the last example, pitcher steps off and runs towards the base runner. The runner is out at first. Since the pitcher retired the runner, there was no violation of this play. And the pitcher is coming off and running towards the base runner in solo effort. Base runner interferes with the play. Pitcher steps off and runs solo at the base runner. And it being made. No violation of this play because the runner was retired. Brings up the pitcher steps off. Because of. Because the pitcher stepped off and made a pickoff throw, there is no violation on this play, and the clock would reset when the ball is returned to the pitcher on the mound.
So that's a legitimate pickoff throw. That it was close enough. Yep, he was trying to get him out.
The pitcher steps off and immediately makes a pickoff attempt at first. There is no violation on this play, as the runner was retired on the pickoff. With no runners on base, before starting the windup motion or beginning the motion to pitch, they can step off the pitcher's plate, get a new sign, but the clock does not stop. The pitcher receives the ball from the catcher after delivering the pitch. Both feet are on the dirt mound circle, and the clock starts as soon as the pitcher has possession of the ball. Thank you for watching this video bulletin. Soon we will send out video bulletin number 2, demonstrating more plays around the 20-second action clock.
All right, so
There's a link to request, you said?
refquest.com, and it'll be in the PowerPoint as well. All right.
The last one, there where you stepped off and you said the clock keeps running and.
Because we were above the 10 seconds. So started 20 seconds. Nope, I don't like that sign. Steps off, it was 14 seconds. Steps on, you don't have to reset it. If it's underneath 10 seconds, that's gonna be a reset.
When he gets back up.
When you get, yep. So since he stepped off at 14, he steps on, let's go, because we're still above the 10. Because that batter still has 10 seconds to be ready.
And that's with no runners on base. Or does
No, it doesn't matter. Yep, doesn't matter.
He steps off with 14 and he gets back on with 9. Now we got a problem.
Now I'm gonna, yeah, so did you hear that, Monty? So it steps off at 14. We're gonna keep the clock running. And he steps on with 9 or 8. All right, now I'm gonna reset it.
Something that the base umpire is gonna have to call.
100%. This is, guys, this is all base umpire. All base umpire. And if you, another rule change I didn't put in here, but NCAA baseball, you cannot start a game with one umpire. You can't start a game with the one umpire doing pitch clock and everything else. Now, if an umpire gets concussed and is out, we got to figure out a way to do it. But NCAA baseball, you cannot start a game with one umpire. We got to have 2.
There's something kind of interesting I perceive happening. We're not gonna have visible clocks at this level for at least a season. Are we gonna have a game official outside the fence running this time clock, or is it all on the? Because what's important to this is when does he reset it? Does he start it at the appropriate time? Right?
All on us.
So there's nobody outside.
No.
measuring that.
Nope.
No game official.
Base umpire.
Which at D1 they do.
Base umpire.
There's a guy at D1 running the visible clock.
You will also see the umpire at second base have this as well. What if that goes dead?
What if there's a discrepancy?
What's that? Well, if there's a discrepancy, I'm using the visual clock. You know, it's just like a shot clock in basketball.
Makes the field guy's job a hell of a lot easier when there's a visual clock.
Yeah.
Right?
So it's, I mean, if college football fans, there wasn't play clocks always on stadiums back in the day. When there was 10 seconds left, boom, 5 seconds left, boom. All right, so if there's no visual clock, the batter knows they have 10 seconds. Our visual is this. Boom, time, strike one, 0-1. Here we go, play. That's our visual. So there is no 5 seconds. You have 10 seconds to get ready. Again, so Brandon, in your first games this last weekend, you guys did have it, but how many times was it close?
55, 55,
Okay,
within 5 second time cycle pressure. Obviously, I told you in that one where you ended up striking out. It because he stepped out.
Yep.
So I love about the rule. And the coach that came on arguing making a point. Batters haven't been allowed to do box in 30 years.
Yep.
Well, why can't we call strike for the box?
Yep.
Stay in the box. If you stay in the box, keep in the box, you shouldn't have a second. If you do your job. However, there's some kind of like strikes. We didn't post it. And we
in umpires, especially when the batter's doing body language because they don't like your judgment, don't give them 12 seconds. Let's go. I can't explain this enough. And then, Mike, we're going to get into your games yesterday. The PR is, hey, pace of play, college baseball has to be quicker. It's all PR. Because when you go to College World Series, they're 3.5 hour longs because of advertisements. The real reason for this is they are trying to get rid of unsporting behavior out of baseball. And if you don't have time to do unsporting behavior, you don't have unsporting behavior. All right. Why in football do we not have unsportsmanlike conduct flags on head coaches? They don't have time to. They have to get to the next play. All right. We're not giving players and coaches time to do unsporting behavior. We are playing baseball. All right. A 4-letter word I always use, cope. All right. I missed a call. Cope, play. Let's go. All right. You missed your pitch. All right. Cope, play. Next pitch, flush it. Let's go. They are taking away the time for unsporting behavior to happen. All right. And we really saw this in minor league baseball. Minor league baseball ejections went down the drain because they didn't have time to do any of the antics. Mike, would you guys have anything yesterday?
batters were good. Nobody leaving everybody in. Then they stepped out, stepped right back in. It's pretty quick. Pitchers were. We had some push in there, were working pretty slow, 18, 19, getting there. Had one instance where we missed a reset, run on first base, pitcher just stepped off, we didn't grab the reset. So there was an instance there.
All right, so we're talking one incident, third week of baseball, talking about 6 incidents, second week of baseball. If we are consistent, there's not going to be any incidents whatsoever. Week 5, 6, 7. Yes, we are changing the behavior, what they did the last 30 years. But the great thing about behavior is once it's changed, it's changed. You could always change human behavior.
Yesterday, and most of the fish between 12 and 14 seconds. I was the only one I had at the plate, so I asked the guy to come in. His comment was, "We just pitch with my head."
Yeah, so we'll talk about that. The pitcher caused that batter to, back away, pitch at their head. We've all played baseball. You kind of, 90-mile-an-hour fastball just almost nailed me in the head. Again, umpires for player safety, we could always call time. All right, time. All right, get your balance. Let me know when you're ready. Since I call time, batter's in the box ready to go, catcher's in the catcher's box ready to go, pitcher's on the mound with the ball, 2 coaches, play, start that 20. So that's a really good example of we could call time when a batter was rattled because the pitcher almost nailed him in the head. That's a very good point.
One thing I'd like to mention is for the guys that are kind of newer to this, work at GPAC baseball. when you get a new batter that's getting ready to step in the box, and I umpire for them, there's starting line.
Yep.
Let your base umpire know, hey, I started right.
Because that is one thing we don't have. If you are following Major League Baseball, they have 30 seconds in between batters. College baseball does not have that. So boom, strike three, they're throwing around the horn. All right, that pitcher gets the ball back in the dirt circle. That 20-second clock has not started yet. All right, we are giving that next batter, on deck batter, get set in the box. Even though the ball's live and in play, catcher's in the box, batter's in the box, pitcher has the ball. We're not putting it in play. We're saying start the clock. We don't have that 30 seconds in between
We're
batters.
gonna let the batter get set the first time.
Yep. Always let the batter get set first pitch of the at bat.
Yes.
Good point there.
Real communication between the field guy and the play guy. I'm starting.
Right here.
Play guy does it. How about the field guy? Does he tell him?
Yeah. I mean, you watch college basketball, right? Inbounds. You know why they put their hand behind the back, right?
I don't think so.
It's activating their whistle to stop the clock. It's not starting the clock. But we all know they're doing it. Yep, they did it. Cool. We're good. When you
Thanks.
work, you're gonna see your partners flip up, or on this one, flip down. All right, so this again, not a rule change. They have 2 minutes, 120 seconds in between half innings to get in, to get out, throw their 8 warm-up pitches, throw their 5 warm-up pitches and be ready to rock and roll. Okay. The rule change, if the catcher was on the base, if the pitcher / DH was on the bases, and that catcher's doing what they're supposed to be doing, they have a warm-up catcher out warming up the pitcher next. That pitcher's doing what they're supposed to be doing, gets out to the mound, and they don't do anything purposely to delay, we might give them a couple extra seconds. All right, that's the only rule change. All right, but if it's the shortstop who's messing around and doesn't get out and not ready to play, if that on-deck hitter can't get ready to hit within 2 minutes because the coaches are yelling at him for 3 minutes in the dugout, strike or ball. All right, and now there is mechanics for this one. All right, college umpires. We do not talk to our plate umpire. The only time we would talk to our plate umpire, number one, if I think they're hurt, like they got a foul ball and I'm going to go check on them. All right. Number two, if you see your partner getting rattled, because this happens to young college umpires, coaches will see it. They'll try to get in the umpire's head. I'm going to go talk to him, give him some type of pump me up. Hey, ignore the coaches. Your strike zone's great. Just keep doing you. All right. Then hopefully at that time, partners get in the dugouts and tell the coaches, let them work. Other than that, you don't talk to your partner. There's a lot of dead ball officiating to do. Home plate umpire has to count how many pitches. Home plate umpire has to ask, I need 4 new baseballs. Base umpire, get to the outfield and not outfield fence, but you're in just grass between second and first. 30 seconds. I raise my hand. I run to my first base position. 15 seconds. I'm out here. When my clock, 120-second clock goes off, boom, I'm either coming up time, award a ball or strike, right? Or if it's this new rule, I'm pointing at my plate umpire, all right? You were watching the catcher, you're talking to the catcher, I'm going to let you to decide if you're going to extend this or not, okay? New pitcher, even when the 120 seconds has expired, they still get 8 warm-up pitches. But we're still keeping track of the 120 because who still has to adhere to the rule? Everybody else, the hitter. All right. So boom, when that pitcher's done warming up, hitter, let's go. Like we're going. All right.
So the field guy's given the 30 or the 15, recommend the plate guy verbalize it.
Oh yeah. Plate guys, if you see when you see the 30, you let that catcher know 30 seconds. Let's go. If they're not down to that, hey, thrown down to second base, it better be a quick catch, throw back. All right, 2, here we go. All right. If they say, but my pitcher's only thrown 3 pitches. Sorry. Or you could just start the count with the ball. I have seen pitchers do that. They accept, they don't care about the 120-second They got 7 innings. Give me a ball. I don't care. I would rather take 3 minutes to warm up and start me with the ball than you rush me. Okay, cool. All right, cool. We're still on task. Does anybody need a 5-minute break or should I keep going? Hey, this is a big one. So technology gives direction. It is not absolute. I'm going to give some backstory here. So last November, I met with all the GPAC coaches, and I think there's 4 schools that have the technology to track pitches. And one of the schools gave me my tracking system. And I remember specifically, there was 4 pitches on there. One, I was really surprised I missed it that bad. I'm like, whoa. 2 of them, I called it a strike on purpose because we've been there. Like if a pitcher is struggling, I'm going to get one. So I'll take the incorrect call. And then the other one, I'm like, there's no way I missed that pitch. It was a strike 3 pitch. It is an inside corner strike 3 pitch. I'm like, there's no way I missed that pitch. But all right, I'm going to take it. It gives me direction, but it's not absolute. Here's what I mean by this. So I'm not going to click timeout with PSOA. Andrew Fulton talks about it on our podcast that we have. Those dots, this is what I found out now in January. I wish I had this information in November. Those dots are from the middle of the baseball and 17 inches on the plate. So if the middle of the baseball does not touch one of those 17 inches, that TrackMan is going to say you missed the call. Well, how wide is a baseball? Okay, so that outside part of the baseball from the middle of the baseball is not being recorded. That is still touching home plate. So when that middle of the baseball is, I think it was like 1/4 inch off, it's showing up as a ball, but by rule, part of that ball is still touching home plate. So by rule, it's still a strike. So you're losing that 1/2 inch on either side by rule. So now what we're trying to get in NCAA is a standardized strike zone. All right. So in Major League Baseball contract, the umpire contract, they're allowed 1 inch off the plate. So that their system is set up where that center of the baseball, as long as it touches, I think, 1.25 inches, because it takes that 1/4 inch and then the middle of the baseball. Well, we don't have that in NCAA. Actually, what the schools do, there's 3 settings: youth, high school, college. And depending on what the school decides or whoever's running the system, they might click the wrong button. So one game you might have a youth strike zone, the other game you might have a high school strike zone, and the third game you might have the college strike zone, depending on the setting. Okay, so the standardized number 1. The other thing that does not take into consideration, so has anyone seen hit tracks, like a batting hit tracks machine? When does it pick up the baseball? Anyone know how far off? 30 feet away from home plate is when they actually dot it. It has nothing to do with the hexagonal, is that right? The 3-dimensional home plate, because it picks up that dot 30 feet away from home plate. And based on the spin, based on the trajectory, is where the computer thinks it's going to end up on the front plane of home plate. All right, so windy day, that wind is going to push a little bit more than what just the spin is. All right, and it does not take into consideration wind, does not take into consideration moisture. Moisture could play a critical role in it. So it's going to track it exactly the same in Colorado as it will in Florida. A little bit different moisture levels. So again, what I told our coaches in the GPAC, if they give us all the information every single game, we want it. We want to use it to find our direction. All right, I have 5 missed pitches in this one area of my strike zone. What's going on? Is it my plate stance? Is it my timing? Is it the high and inside pitch? Because I'm blinking my eyes. What could I do differently? All right, that's the direction. I got to figure out why am I missing this pitch, but it's nowhere near absolute, AKA that strike to the inside corner. All right, I knew that was a strike. So how do we use it? If the coach offers you this, your track man, take a look at tendencies. I think they said it's 195 columns of information. All right. Am I bigger on a 2-0 count? Am I too small on a 1-2 count? Because believe it or not, this is what coaches do. They have a hard time sharing this because of contract. Number one, their contract says they don't have to give it to anybody. And number two, rightfully so, coaches are gaining an advantage. So I have holes in my strike zone. So if they see me go behind the plate, guess what they're telling their pitchers to do? Hey, Sean is really big on the outside low corner. I want you to throw a ball off the plate because he's going to call it a strike. Well, if I have that information, guess what I'm going to do with my strike zone? I'm going to change it. So now their scouting report on me has changed. Okay. So again, another part of this standardized strike zone is they want all coaches to share all information with all teams in the conference and the umpires working.
We might get a chance to see that.
Yep. So I told our coaches this year, is if you give me all the information, I will do everything I can to, again, give it to the umpires and look for direction for us to get better. But if you don't give me any of the technology information that you're using, we're not having conversations with the strike zone. I want to know the pitches I'm missing. I want to know how I can help my umpires to get pitches right. But if they're using it to try to gain an advantage on us, I'm not having the conversations with them. Okay, so a lot of information there on the strike zone and technology. I know when it comes to summer clinic, we're going to do everything we possibly can to get some type of system there, so we could track this, so we could start seeing our strike zones. Because how many people here, if you were given the dot chart of your game, you'd be like, nope, I'm not going to look at it. I don't want to look at it. I don't want to get better. Exactly. And that's what we keep on trying to, like, they're like, well, you think umpires would actually like it? I'm like it. We love it. Like, yes, please offer it to our umpires. Offer it to me. That way, again, we could get umpires better. But last thing I'm going to say on Dork was definitely one of them.
Yeah, he never shared it with.
No, nobody shared it last year. Nobody.
We asked.
Yeah. The only one that.
Well, he said that he had it.
Yeah, the only ones I got was mine and Jeff Kopetsky's when we worked up there. Last thing I will say on this. What they're saying acceptable strike, all right, is a ball off the plate. Not two balls off the plate. If you guys, anybody from Iowa, that a really nasty email got sent off. All right, so if a coach says, what are they telling you? I will tell you nationally, they are allowing us one ball off the plate. Well, what the heck does that mean? I didn't bring in a baseball, did I? Baseball. My computer is home plate. This is not one ball off the plate. This is a strike by rule. Because any part of the ball that touches any part of the plate is a strike. So what we mean by one ball off the plate is so you have one ball. If I had a second baseball lined up right next to it, that's one ball off the plate. That is going to be the accepted NCAA standardized acceptable strike. One ball off the plate. All right, so the days of getting that ball that is near that batter's box line, if that ball touches the batter's box line, you cannot get that as a strike in NCAA baseball. In NAIA baseball, I would not recommend getting any ball that touches a batter's box line. What makes it very difficult in NAIA baseball, and coaches, I can't explain this enough, is how they mark the fields. If it's turf, we're good. Turf doesn't move. But if they're putting chalk lines, how many times have we had batters boxes and there is no chalk line on the inside? Umpires, you see that, have them good inside batter's box. By rule, you need that line. Seventh inning, how much of that line is still there? All right, so, I mean, there is going to be some leeway with that whole chalk. But you are not going to be supported if you're getting strikes that are touching that batter's box line. One ball off the plate is an acceptable strike, not two. One ball off the plate. All right. Yeah. The height with the technology, it's the same exact thing. So the standardized, and coaches really, they're not, coaches don't complain about high and low. All right, because pitchers aren't taught to throw at the top of the strike zone, bottom of the strike zone. They are taught inside, outside, push that envelope. But typically the pitchers look at, how do I mute?
Gold Peak, how does it say? Unsweetened tea.
Anyone good here? All right. Oh, there it was. All right, how do I mute all really quick? Dang it. Anyways, all right, so pitchers are taught to push the envelope, but they're always pushing the envelope inside the rectangle. They are not pushing pitchers to have a ball low. But the standardized strike zone and what is an acceptable strike, it is one ball all the way around that rectangle. It's like if you Google NCAA standardized strike zone, I think there is a picture out there. If you are not muted, could you mute yourself? Not sure who is talking. So it's like one square, one rectangle around. So an acceptable strike is one ball around the strike zone all the way. I will tell you guys here, we don't call enough high strikes. I think we call too many low strikes. And if a coach says you can't call a high and a low strike, you just reply back, why not? Because you can. You can. I mean, literally look at that box and where that batter's elbow is. I mean, because batters that start here, all right, they typically wind up here. All right, so a little tidbit, take technology out of it. If it's below that elbow, that's a strike for me. Most of the time, if that catcher stays underneath the ball without that glove going down, that's my low zone. I use the batter's elbow for my high and the catcher's thumb staying below that ball without that ball forcing his glove down for my low zone.
That's what's freaking me out, Sean. If you look at the diagram, and that's what we've called traditionally below that elbow, which is what, an inch above his waist?
Yep.
And this chart's telling me I'm 3 inches above the elbow.
It all depends on the crouch. Because it's, again, the rule book isn't the elbow. It's the midpoint of the waist. So that, again, they don't use the elbow in the book because that elbow height's going to change based on how they're hitting. Okay, based on how they're coached too, right?
That's been the struggle. We've called it an inch or two above the belt. You get any higher than that, and they're going ape shit, and it should go clear to the midpoint.
No, call high strikes. Any pitchers out there? Has any pitching coach ever taught you, hey, you should throw more high fastballs? Hey, you should throw some more high curveballs? Never. Never, because that's when they start going over the things. Get your high strikes. And you can't miss low strikes because that's where they're trying to pitch it. They want that ground ball. Okay. All right. We have replay in the GPAC. Actually, all college baseball has replay. We don't have video replay, unfortunately. All right. So no matter what level of baseball you're doing, If you have a partner out there, you guys have replay. And this has been a really big push in NCAA is the crew consultation. Right? If you've worked enough baseball, there are times where both umpires or the calling umpire is the only person on the field that did not see what everybody else saw. Have you guys ever felt that? You're like, oh man, what did I miss? Get together with your partner. In college baseball, I have to have 2 umpires out there unless somebody gets injured during the game. So home run, fair foul. Okay, we could consult. Home plate umpires, believe it or not, on a home run ball, if you move up a little bit on a one that curves, you might have a little bit better angle than staying on the line. You're gonna see the trajectory. Did that ball go around the pole, or did the ball? You will see the ball in front of the pole, or you see the pole the whole entire time on that bending home run ball. Base umpires, if you're in the middle of the field, you have a great look at that. Great look at it. Right, you're in the middle of the field. It's like, yeah, how do you have a better look in the middle of the field than a home plate umpire on the line? You just, the angle is you see that ball better. Consult. Okay. Batted ball, home run, or ground rule double. White ball, white signs, white warning track. I saw it happen in Division II conference tournament. Everything was white, and the crew never got together and talked about it. All right, so crew consultation. If you're the non-calling umpire, you can bring the crew together. Can you change the call? Can't change the call, but you could bring information. Foul tip, drop by the catcher. All right, we've all been there. Drop third strike. All right, open hand, caught third strike, close hand. Same thing on the foul tip. I just give that open hand, close hand. If you have to get together, you can. Base umpire, you see it better than the plate umpire. Catch, no catch in foul territory. Any of those could switch. All right, so we talk about who is glove side. So here we got the first baseman, third baseman, and all of a sudden they catch it over their back. Well, who's going to have that catch, no catch? Who should have that catch, no catch? The base umpire should. Now that third baseman, first baseman are diving forward towards the home plate umpire. All right. Now the home plate umpire should have that catch, no catch. But all of a sudden, a player comes in front of us. And that base umpire in the middle of the field has a great look through at it. All right. We could consult and change that original call. Earn judgment when ball is juggled, dropped, or bobbled on force play or tag play. All right, so on a double play, 2-person, I know it's very difficult, but you want to turn as late as you possibly can on the play at first base. But I have seen base umpires, that ball touches that fielder's glove and they turn. They have no idea, was it a clean transfer or did the ball drop straight down? All right, that's that gut feeling like, oh my God, I turned too quick. What the heck just happened there? Because I'm calling out at second base and everybody's yelling at me. Time, home plate umpire, please come help me. All right, because the home plate umpire staying with that because of the force play slide rule. We could give information. And if I'm the calling umpire and I know I turned too quick, have the courage to change your call. Trust your partner. Fair foul beyond first and third baseman, and then placing runners. So tip number 1, when in doubt, keep the ball live. When in doubt, keep the ball live. Because if we call nothing, all right, the players are going to keep on playing. All right, so let's say we call absolutely nothing, okay? And I have U1 on first base, and the ball breaks the plane of first base. So it's U1's call, fair foul, but that ball is a laser shot and it's about to kill my partner. All right. As a home plate umpire, I'm going to sit back. All of a sudden, the first baseman doesn't go chasing it. The batter is almost going to come back to home plate, doesn't hear a foul ball, then continues to start running. What could we always do in that situation? Yeah, we come back, talk. Hey, man, I just wanted to make sure that you were running for your life. That's why I didn't call foul right away. Did you even have a clue on what happened? He goes, no. I said, all right, it's a foul ball. Boom, base umpire foul ball, bring the runner back. Because now if we do it the other way, if we go foul as we're trying to save our life and not get hit in the junk, and now me as a plate umpire, go and say, all right, you're not gonna, it's a fair ball. You could actually see the ball mark inside the fair foul line. We still need to get the call right. But now we got to place the runners. Where would the runner had gotten or runners had gotten had we actually called fair? Okay, and always, always, always be very, very conservative on where you place runners in that situation. All right, so minimum one, it's got to be really clear to give double or triple.
It happens with illegal like that,
Mm-hmm.
where it was shot down the line, and the umpire on the third baseline raised his hand for foul, but they let the play run anyways. Runner scored from first, game over. That was a winning run.
Yep.
Because the defenders hesitated because they saw the guy raise his hand. They raised a big stink about it, and they're like, you can't do that. Like, our defenders they're rolling up the ball, but they're watching you. If you call foul, we're gonna assume it's foul.
Exactly.
So I think that's the place where you're pointing exactly. Like, if he wouldn't have done that, they would have played this if it was five still.
Yep.
And it made a cheap play.
Be very conservative when placing runners. That's the best advice I could give. And the second one is, again, don't call anything if you don't know, because it's nothing until we call it something.
I digress a little bit, Sean, but I just want to touch on that foul tip dropped by the catcher, the new rule. You give an open hand to my guy, there's a foul tip and it hits the catcher anywhere and bounces off.
Did he catch it yet, or did it hit the ground?
Foul tip and it hit him somewhere. And
Okay.
then hit the ground.
Yep. Well, in that case, I could even call foul ball as a base umpire. That's not a drop third strike. That's a foul ball. Base umpires, you could always call a foul ball hit, the ball that hit, swing, batter in the box. Boom, time, foul ball. You could always call foul ball. But the foul tip, the foul tip and the glove goes down to the dirt, and I clearly see the ball was tipped and it goes straight into the glove and not the dirt. I'm giving this because I want my partner to come up, boom, boom.
Right.
Tip caught.
So what's this new foul tip?
I was confused on it.
But the ball
Right
fly.
earlier, too. It sounded confusing because I'm like, well, if the foul tip and hits the catcher anywhere, then that's not a foul ball. But, like,
Not yet.
Only if the catcher catches it after that. right?
Correct. Yep.
So if it goes off of him and goes to the backstop.
Yep.
That's a foul
Thank you
ball.
for that.
Yep.
I'm confused with the same thing,
Spectator interference, because we get tons of fans out there. Okay. So if we miss it, they have to reach over the field of play. If the defender is reaching into fan territory, that's not fan interference. It's only when the fans reach into player territory. Yeah, I do. Balks. And what we mean by the main balk call that's going to happen is, did they step off or not? Because there's going to be times as me as a home plate umpire, and I'll see this. That's a balk. And then my base umpire is going to say, whoa, Sean, come here. They completely disengage. All right. Since they completely disengaged, they became a fielder. All right, reset. Here we go. Play. And so that we're not talking the double move. We're not talking about judgment, the no stop. It's the foot action is what we're going to talk about. Catch, no catch, anytime. Batter gets first. All other runners one base. And then no catch to a catch. Return runners to base at time of pitch. Exception. Common sense. All right, so here's the play. Runner at third base. We got one out. We have, boom, ball out to the outfield. Umpire goes, no catch, no catch. Runner at third scores, okay? Because no catch. Now we get together. Sean, that was a catch. That was a catch, Sean. All right, so now we change it to a catch. What do we do with that runner on third? All right, it does depend.
A ball clear of the
Yeah,
gap. or-
yeah, and that's what it is. So he scored without tagging up because I went no catch. And now we change it to a catch. All right, we get to place that runner. Where would that runner had gotten had I got the call correctly? If it's that center fielder coming in and that runner was not tagging up whatsoever, I'm going to leave him at third base. If it's a right center gap, left center gap, outfielder running away from the field, and that runner would have clearly tagged up and scored, I'm going to let him score. All right. So again, you're placing runners. You're going to fix all parts of your mistake that are clear and obvious. Clear and obvious. Okay, that's a new case play. And yes, that play did happen to me. Yep. If you think those runners would, well, actually, in that case, yeah, because it's one base award. Yep, one base award. Then the last one's hit by pitch. All right. So there are times, and I want to clear this up. It's not judgment hit by pitch. So the judgment hit by pitch is this. Did he roll into it? All right. I'm not going to change my partner's judgment of did they roll into the pitch, aka the batter hit the pitch ball versus the pitch ball hit the batter. I'm leaving that all up to my home plate umpire. That's all them. But if my home plate umpire doesn't see it hit the back foot, and my home plate umpire just calls it a ball, I'm going to do a crew consultation and say, did you see that ball hit the batter's back foot? No. All right, they hit the batter's back foot. Then the home plate umpire is going to award batter first base. All right, so not the judgment hit by pitch, not was that ball clearly in the batter's box or was it outside the batter's box? It's your partner did not see that pitch ball hit the batter. Okay. Does that make sense on the hit by pitch? All right. CCA mechanics manual. The reason if you're only NAIA, you don't have access to this because NAIA did not sign a contract with CCA company to get the manual. However, I will say this, if you don't have a CCA manual and you need a CCA manual, contact your local college assigner and they will get you a copy of the CCA manual. All right, because they have a copy of the CCA manual because they're an NCAA umpire and NCAA did sign the contract with CCA. So the question is this year's, yes, but this year's doesn't have any changes. And they're asking, why don't we have changes in this year's 2023 CCA manual? Because when they changed the rules on the pitch clock, there were so many unknowns of what is going to work. They did not want to put in stone the new mechanics there. So as it sits right now, here's our new mechanics. All right, the swipe tag off the bag that forced the runner off the bag, we can go safe off the bag. Our defense forced that runner off the bag. So that's approved mechanic number one. Reset here. All right. And if it's a reset where we do not call time, literally, it's reset because that 20 seconds is already started, guys. Okay, it's that quick.
You're verbalizing all that to everybody. That's your one reset.
Yep.
Here we go.
Yep. Reset. Here we go. Now, if I call time, because the catcher needs to give signs. Time. Get one reset, guys. One reset. Now everyone's in position. Play. And then the two more with the resets. If I award a ball or strike, time. Go to your watch. All right. 0-1, 1-0. Get back into position. Everybody's ready to play baseball. Play. Okay. And then the last one with the, there's one more with the reset. Pop, 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 pop. One, the time, oh, the batter. Oh, no, the umpire one, where I call time. Again, we can still call time because of safety reason, because of the batter. Yeah, boom, my time. Make sure we're ready. Make sure the batter's ready. Make sure I'm ready as an umpire. Again, those are the only mechanics changes. Umpire one, if you're on the line in a position, go out on every single trouble ball. When in doubt, go out. Home plate umpire, you can umpire one base runner. All right, even if you only get in front of the pitcher's mound, you could umpire one base runner.
Has there been changes to the CCA manual in every year prior to this year? I think I got it 2019.
Yeah, there has been.
I missed a lot.
Most of the changes are in 3-person and 4-person, not 2-person. Austin might even know this answer. Do you remember, since you've been doing it, any changes to the 2-person system? Monty, you remember? I don't think 2-person has been touched in many, many of years. There should be one thing changed in there because we don't follow a mechanic in the CCA manual. So ground ball in the infield, ball never leaves the infield. Where does the home plate umpire go? All right, we're going up the first base line. We're helping with pull foot swipe tag. Guess what the CCA manual tells us to do? Tells us to go up to the third base or to play at third base. We are not doing that mechanic. Nobody does that mechanic. All right, it's a pro mechanic that's still in the CCA manual. And the reason why we continue to go up first base line in college baseball, they don't throw the ball as well as professional baseball players. So pulled foot swipe tag usually happens way more than a play at third base. All right, because those runners aren't as fast either.
Regardless of anybody on base.
What's that?
There's nobody on base. the
Correct.
mechanic still sends you. The manual sends you up to third base. Means you
Yep, just pulled foot swipe tag. Help with the pulled foot swipe tag.
can run alone.
All right. Oh, perfect. All right. I am going to stop the recording here. But I want to stop recording. Perfect.